Hi, and welcome to this week's true crime live stream. If you're new here, I'm FEARSONA, but you can call me Sona, and I'm your friendly neighborhood true crime VTuber, here to give you full body chills as always. And I can see everyone congratulating me on reaching 7,000 subscribers. Yeah, I was really shocked. I saw it the other day and I was like, whoa, okay, there's really 7,000 of us in the angry mob. And that's quite incredible. I couldn't thank you enough because this is not me, you know, like this is you guys. You guys decided to give my channel a chance and, you know, watch my videos and subscribe. So first of all, thank you to every single one of you for, you know, like for joining the angry mob, for joining Fearverse and, you know, supporting me always on my journey as a VTuber and as a true crime streamer and also as a YouTuber. So yeah, today we have another case and we're gonna get back on track with the US series. So this series is basically me covering a case per state, per oh God, US state. I don't know. Do you say US state or do you just say yeah, I mean, a case per state. Anyway, got confused. Obviously I'm not from the States, so I got confused. You're doing great. Love your content. Thank you so much, Runes. Yeah, I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying the content, enjoying the live streams, and you guys show up for every live stream a week. You know, like every week for the live stream. What am I saying? I have no idea. Wait, okay. I'm trying to like get back on the wait, I'm trying to read the chat messages. Some info about Hawaii for some that have been there many times when it's from someone that has been there from many times when it's raining. When it's raining, it can just pour for the day in the summer. Okay, cool. And Ian, hey FEARSONA, real quick, want to get this out of the way that I'm sorry if I in any ways made you feel uncomfortable in any way. I thought it was just funny. Oh, okay. Oh, you're referring to the mom comments. Don't worry. Hey, it's fine. I just want everyone to feel comfortable. Yeah, like, you know, I took it as a joke at first. Later, like when people were like overusing it, it just felt a little bit, I don't know, iffy. A little. So, you know, and also people in the chat were expressing that they were kind of feeling uncomfortable as well. And I was kind of not, I don't know, like I didn't find it any, like, I don't know, like I found it a little bit weird. So yeah, you know, it's fine. No big deal. No harm done. I just wanted to, you know, like put it out there that, hey, let's tone it down. But as long as you guys have fun in the chat and no one is uncomfortable, yeah, like that's, you know, that's how I want these streams to go. And just US. Okay. Because I'm like, hey, US states, what am I saying? Okay, but yes, this is another live stream that is gonna follow or continue with my series of, you know, a case per state. And I hope to cover all of them. So this week, we are covering Hawaii. And I have to say, this case is surprising and also very frustrating as, you know, just like all the other cases that I cover, because holy shit, I couldn't even, you know, like I just have to, every time I do choose a case that it just ends up, the investigation just ends up being like so frustrating and the police is like just fucking shit up. And I'm just here like, why didn't you, why? But this is just another case, you know, like that. And unfortunately, because there's not one, not two, but 5 victims. Okay. But let me just read some of the chat messages. Lacey, I'm gonna get breakfast real quick. Be back later. No worries. And oh, green salad. Hi, you're new here. Hi, thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope you enjoyed this stream. How was the Mickey Thompson story? Oh, it was great. I mean, you know, like obviously, what am I saying? Great. Like it's it's murder, so obviously not great. But it was an interesting case, and during the live stream, a couple of times I actually said like, oh, you know, if you want to murder someone, don't do this. But then I would just go like, not that I'm encouraging anyone to murder anyone. Please don't do this. But I kept like circling back to this kind of sentence, and I was just like, what am I saying? I'm just like basically giving you a one-on-one on how to get away with murder. I should not do that. But yeah, okay. So if you guys are actually interested in hearing more true crime cases and having access to live streams, weekly live streams that are not gonna be available on YouTube, you can go ahead and subscribe to my Patreon, because for as little as $5 a month, you get access to a library of live streams. It's gonna be, I think it's already like 8 or 9 cases that I've covered on Patreon. And moving forward, you'll get access to weekly true crime live streams on Patreon for members only, as well as access to my Discord server, which is not launched yet, but I'm gonna launch it soon. I was supposed to launch it last week, but I just want to wait a little bit longer. So yeah, if you join Patreon, you're gonna get access to a Discord server, as well as you will also get a VIP role on Discord. So you will have, you know, the VIP role that's you know, connected to Patreon, and you will get access to VIP only channels. And yeah, there's more coming, because you know, since the New Year started, 2022, I'm kind of planning in 2022. I'm planning to revamp Patreon a little bit, add some stuff. Definitely something's coming. An announcement is coming in January. That's gonna be, you know, connected to Patreon, and it will be a little surprise for Patreon members. So yeah, if you join, you might be a part of this surprise. Okay, so without further ado, let me move on to the case. Let's switch to my murder board. Okay. So, thinking of Hawaii generally brings an image of this vacation paradise. A place where you can just let go of your worries and feel safe. And yet, even this scenic state had some dark history, and a serial killer case that was and is still unsolved to this day. Between 1985 and 1986, a series of murders showered Honolulu, Hawaii. The killings of 5 young women aged between 17 and 36 were so strikingly similar that the police had no doubt that they were dealing with a serial killer. This is the story of the Honolulu Strangler. On May 29th, 1985, 25-year-old woman named Vicki Gale Purdy was getting ready for a night out with her friends. They actually made plans to go clubbing in Waikiki. Although she was married to Gary Purdy, a helicopter pilot for the US Army, she would actually often go out to parties without him. And according to her friends, even though Vicki was this petite blonde girl, she could definitely pack a mean punch. Not only that, but Vicki was also a headstrong woman from North Carolina, and was not afraid to stand up for herself and stand her ground. That night, Gary knew that Vicki would be home around 9 p.m. or before 9 p.m. Since she told him that she was planning to just, you know, get a couple of drinks with her friends, maybe dance a little bit, and then just get back home. But Vicki actually failed to return that night. And then hours passed, and there was still no sign of Vicki. When she failed to come home the next morning, Gary went out to search for his wife, but what he found was Vicki's car, and the car was actually abandoned in the parking lot of the Shorebird Hotel. That same morning, Vicki's body was discovered in an embankment at Kihi Lagoon. She was still wearing the yellow jumpsuit she had on the night before. But Vicki's death was no accident. Her hands were actually bound behind her back, and the police determined that she had been raped and then strangled. What the investigators managed to find out were Vicky's last known whereabouts. A cab driver told the police that he had dropped Vicky off at the Shorebird Hotel, so the place where her car was found, and he dropped her off at around 12 a.m. that night, and she did mention to him that she was there to retrieve her car. Also, based on Vicky's husband's testimony, the police suspected that Vicky fell a victim to a porn-obsessed customer at Wahiawa, I guess, Wahiawa. Wahiawa Video Rental. I think that's how you pronounce it. I am so sorry if I mispronounce any, local names. So Vicky worked at Wahiawa Video Rental, and, Gary thought that maybe she fell a victim to this porn-obsessed customer, someone who had fixation on not only her, but also was, addicted to porn. Maybe they had some weird kink, and that's how it ended. Apparently, just a year earlier, so before Vicky's murder, there were at least 2 incidents of someone stabbing women who worked at the store. And Gary was worried for his wife's safety. He wasn't actually happy that she was working there. He, on multiple occasions, did ask her to, hey, maybe you should change your job. Things happened last year. It's not exactly safe. I'm worried about you. Maybe you should look for something else. But she, at least in 1985, she didn't. So what the police didn't know yet was that Vicky would actually be the first known victim of the Honolulu Strangler. January 14th, 1986 did not start all that well for 17-year-old high school student Regina Sakamoto. She missed her bus that morning, and that meant she would likely be late for class. She contacted her boyfriend at around 7:15 a.m., informing him of the whole incident and that she will not make it for the first period. But that day, Regina never showed up to school. Her body was later found the next day on January 15th at Hihi Lagoon, the same place where Vicky's body was found nearly 1 year ago. The state of Regina's body was strikingly similar. She still had her blue tank top and white sweatshirt on, but her lower body was stripped naked. Her hands, just like in Vicky's case, were bound behind her back, and she had also been sexually assaulted and then strangled to death. These 2 cases were just so similar, too similar to be just a pure coincidence. Not only were the circumstances of their death the same, but the bodies were located in the same area of Hihi Lagoon. Even though there was a significant age gap between Vicky, who was 25, and Regina, who was 17, they were both short and of petite build. Not only that, but both of them actually moved to Hawaii from a different state. Vicky from North Carolina and Regina from Kansas. Furthermore, while Vicky's husband was an Army helicopter pilot, Regina's father, Maurice Sakamoto, worked as a military serviceman. So, could this be another connection, and were there more murders to come? The police suspected that this was just the beginning. And unfortunately, they were right, because only 2 weeks later, after Regina died, on January 30th, 21-year-old Denise Hughes, who worked as a secretary for a telephone company, failed to show up for work. Only 2 days later, on February 1st, her body was discovered by 3 fishermen in Moanalua stream. This time, something changed. Namely, how the body was found. Because Denise's already decomposing body was found wrapped in a blue tarp, and that's how she was left. Apparently, she did still have, I guess, like she was still wearing her dress, but Additionally to that, she was also covered with a blue tarp. The rest of the pattern seemed to match, because her hands were also bound behind her back, just like the previous victims, and she had also been raped and strangled. As for the victim profile, the only known similarity is that Denise was also not a Honolulu native, having moved here from Washington State. Oh, sorry. So by this point, Honolulu PD's chief, Major Chester Hughes, with no relation to Denise Hughes, by the way, so it's just coincidence that they have the same name. So he decided to form a 27-member serial killer task force on February 5th, getting support from the FBI and Seattle's Green River Task Force. And from the very start, the odds were not in their favor. You see, by 1986, Oahu was in the middle of a telecommunications boom, which actually attracted thousands upon thousands of migrant workers. Also, Hawaii's military population was growing exponentially at the time, getting Army, Navy, and Marine Corps installations all over. Not to mention the touristry that brought approximately 10.5 million visitors to Hawaii between 1985 and 1986. So these are three humongous crowds that the police had to take into account when searching for the killer. So it's not only the local people, it's not only the natives, they had to consider all those like huge groups of people who are migrating. So if it was a tourist, a seasonal worker, or a military member just temporarily stationed on Oahu, who's to say their guy was still here? You know, this guy might have been coming and going, whoever, like, you know, whichever. He could have not even been living here for a long time. So the only thing the task force could form was a brief profile of the killer. In their eyes, this person was an opportunist who would just choose his targets that frequented vulnerable spots like bus stops or parking lots or airports. It didn't seem like the killer was stalking the victims prior to the murders and had no clear connections to the murdered women. Taking into account where the bodies were found, the police concluded that the killer must live somewhere near the Waipahu or Sand Island. Okay, let me just quickly read some chat messages. Juniper, I don't want to discourage anyone, but Sona's true crime streams deal with some pretty heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. Without specific warnings. It's okay if it's not for you. She has plenty of other content. That's true, and I should start including this warning before my streams, because yeah, some people might be put off, or someone might not handle it well. So if you're sensitive to this kind of content, because I talk about gruesome stuff, yeah, you should click away. You know, you don't have to watch it. And I almost missed stream. Hello. Hi, King of Magica. And just started, just a couple of strangulation victims. Yeah, so far we've got 3 victims. So we've got 3 victims. All of them were strangled with their hands bound behind their backs and raped and, yeah, left partially naked. Okay, RJ, the similarities among victims may not necessarily mean the killer was targeting transplants from the continental US. They may just have been stalking places locals tend not to go. Yeah, that's true. So, for one, yeah, that like the police was considering, okay, these women moved to Oahu and they weren't originally from here, but they were focusing more on the circumstances and like where the victims were found or where the victims were last seen. So like, oh, bus stops, kind of those secluded areas, maybe areas with not that many people, as you said. But yeah, so far, that's the only thing they had. Okay, so moving on. Then, what the police feared the most happened. Another young woman was murdered. 25-year-old Louise Medeiros took a late night flight back to Oahu on March 26, 1986, after visiting her family on Kauai. That was following the recent death of her mother, and she originally lived in Waipahu and informed her relatives that she would be taking a bus home from the airport. But after getting off the plane, she vanished. On April 2nd, her decomposing body would be found by construction workers near the Waikele stream. I think that's how you pronounce it. And just like other victims, Louise was found only partially clothed, with her hands tied behind her back. And just like the previous pattern, Louise had been sexually assaulted and killed by strangulation. And there was nothing the police could do because they still had nothing. No suspects, no clues on who might be targeting young women on Oahu. At this point, the police department started sending out their female officers undercover to the killer's most likely hunting ground, like Honolulu International Airport, bus stations, Hihi Lagoon. They strongly believed that the killer was targeting women who were out-of-towners with limited local connections, and they would be maybe traveling, maybe taking local transportation, that kind of profile. But the efforts of the police would prove to be futile, because on the morning of April 29th, 36-year-old Linda Pesce would be last seen by her roommate just before she left home. She would fail to show up for work, and her vehicle was abandoned near a viaduct on Route 92, Interstate H1. Linda Pesce was missing, and her body was actually was discovered on May 3rd, disposed of on Sand Island. And again, the pattern of the murder was the same: partially stripped, hands tied behind back, raped, and strangled. But this time, there was one huge difference. The police officers were led to Louise's body by someone. A 43-year-old unidentified white male contacted the police before Louise's body was found. And he told the investigators that this random psychic, who also remains anonymous, so the psychic told him that Louise's body is on Sand Island. This informant did go with the investigators and directed them to a different location on Sand Island. So the body wasn't actually where he pointed to, but the fact that it was still found on the same island was disturbing, to say the least. Then again, this is one tip that again was not exactly accurate, didn't give the police enough reason to arrest this man. However, something else did. So after Louise's murder, Honolulu PD had set up roadblocks all over the city in order to stop and question as many people as possible about these recent murders. That actually proved to be the right call, because one of the questioned people told the police they saw a white or mixed race, middle-aged male driving what seemed to be Louise's car. And that was all the police needed to make an arrest. On May 9th, the same male informant that led them to Sand Island was arrested, and his name was Howard Gay. So Gay's ex-wife and girlfriend both told the police that Howard was a very smooth talker, as well as he also had a bondage fetish. And the girlfriend, reporting that on numerous occasions during the sexual activity, he would have sex with them while their hands were tied behind their back. His girlfriend also said that whenever they would have a fight, a bigger fight, Howard would leave the house and disappear for a few hours. And those were the same nights when the murders had occurred. So this is a huge coincidence. Well, I mean, is it a coincidence? Also, Howard lived in Iwa Beach. I think that's how you pronounce it, Iwa. So Iwa Beach is actually very close to the sites where the bodies were found. Howard was questioned by the investigators for hours and even failed a polygraph test, but had to be eventually released without formal charges being pressed against him. But that was actually not the end. Because 2 months after Howard's arrest, an unnamed woman came forward and told the police that she had seen Louise Pesce and the killer on the night when she disappeared. Then, the witness was asked to point out the killer from a lineup, and wouldn't you know it, the witness picked Howard Gay. They finally had solid ground to stand on, right? Like, a witness saw Howard that night with one of the victims. So all it took now is for the woman to testify against Howard in court. Unfortunately, the woman refused because she did not want to take the witness stand due to the fact that she believed Howard saw her that night. And, you know, had the judge failed to put him in prison, she would be his next likely target. What the Honolulu police lacked back in 1986 was access to DNA testing that would allow them to test evidence. Oh shit, wait, someone subscribed. Thank you. God, wait, out of my zone. Okay, so as I said, back in 1986, the huge drawback of the Oahu police was lack of access to DNA testing that would allow them to, test evidence from the crime scene against Howard's own DNA. And Howard, unfortunately, was never convicted, and later he died in 2003. The investigators on the 2018 television show Breaking Homicide, including a former prosecutor, Peter Carlisle, also suspected that there was one more possible victim of the Honolulu Strangler, and that was 19-year-old Lisa Au. Lisa was murdered in 1982 and was last seen just around midnight on January 21st. Her car would be found abandoned near, Kapa Quarry Road, and her nude body was discovered 10 days later on January 31st on Tantalus Lookout in Waikiki. So Lisa's case was never solved, and due to the level of decomposition of her body, the coroner was not able to determine an accurate time or even cause of death. So apparently it wasn't as similar to the cases from 1985 and 1986 because there's no actual mention of whether or not her hands were tied, or she was naked, or she was partially dressed. There was no details. I was just looking into the case, and it just doesn't seem like it's just what the articles mentioned was only that, oh, her body was just too decomposed for the coroner to determine what was the cause of death. And this year marks the 36th anniversary of the Honolulu Strangler's killings and the 40th anniversary of Lisa Au's death. And the investigation is still unsolved, and it seems like there wasn't much progress in the case, or at least I wasn't able to find any up-to-date information regarding all 6 murders. But the Honolulu police never stops accepting information regarding their unsolved cases. So if you know anything about any of these murders, you can still contact the Oahu PD through their website, or you can submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers Honolulu, and both links are in the description of this video below. So that's it. That's all we know in this case. And I was looking into whether or not, as I said, like I was trying to find any up-to-date information. I did find something about another man who was convicted of crime. I thought for a moment, oh, they had an update in 2020, I think, that there's like another person who was arrested for murders in other states and there was some connection to Hawaii. But then I looked into it and it seems like this man did live in Hawaii in 1970s, but then moved away, so he wasn't here. So for a moment I got like my hopes up, but there doesn't seem to be any recent information. But that's it. Okay, Rune, seems to be very little physical evidence for the police to make connections. Yes, and as I said, like back in 1986, they just didn't have, at least back then, they didn't have access to, extensive forensic testing again. And that's what's the most frustrating about those cases, because a lot of them, were stayed unsolved for so many years due to the lack of proper like forensic testing back then, or something that would help them match DNA profiles. So many loose threads. It is, yeah. There are so many, and even this victim, Lisa, like it's not even sure whether or not she was the Strangler's victim even before the other murders happened. Okay, but that's it for this case. It wasn't a long case, unfortunately, because I wish I could tell you more, but there's just not enough evidence. There's just not enough information about the victims, and I don't know, like I do hope maybe they just didn't release any more information, and the investigation is still very much open. It's not closed. It will never be closed unless they find something, obviously. And who knows, maybe, I'm pretty sure like the police is still looking into it. They just don't release any information. Maybe, like they just don't update the public for now, at least. They didn't have a DNA tester, which is the worst part. Those are some of the best tools. Yes, and, had Howard been alive now, like, was he alive now? Maybe they would manage to test him, like, have some DNA test done on him and like match him to the crime scene, but unfortunately he's dead, so there's just no other chance. I guess, like, unless they exhume him or something and they get a sample of his DNA somehow. And yeah, so that case is left opened. Okay. Before we are done, I just want to thank you to give my thanks to all of my patrons, all of the Patreon members, and let me read out all the names: Colonel Turtle, Tyrant Kitsune, Zing, Scholastica, CW, Esau Buenrostro, Maria, Rudel Ganoodle, IDK Bacon 53, Jacob Ian, Holmes's Apprentice, Juniper Clark, Nonan, Emmanuel Cadet, Windstorm 555, Ian, RJ, Bubak, Kronos, Hex Gengar, Beverly, and Eric. And yeah, wait, let me get back to the chat room. Again, thank you so much for joining Patreon, because, without your support, I wouldn't be able to really focus on this channel and do it full time, and, like really be able to release so much content. So thank you so much for giving my channel a chance, and also for supporting me on Patreon. Okay, let me get back to the chat room. Okay. Oh, Holmes's Apprentice, hi! Thank you so much for watching today. Such a mysterious case. The victims are the most interesting feature to me of it. I wish I knew their daily commutes and their lifestyles that would have caused them to be sought out. Yeah, that's true. Like, I mean, all of them, it seems like some of them used public transportation. They just, you know, they had some, I guess, life patterns that the killer just... Well, I mean, no, that's not true. As I said, like, the killer, it doesn't seem like he was stalking them before. So I guess he just caught them at their moment of weakness, or like when they were vulnerable, which is just so insane. You know, they were just going about their day. They were just trying to, I don't know, like they were hanging out with friends or trying to get home, come back from like family's place, like family visit, and then they just disappeared. And okay, Kronos, pretty soon the whole thing will be full. Yeah, pretty soon I will have to like scroll, I don't know, find a way to read the Patreon names like scrolling down. But yeah, I mean, I'm super surprised, and I'm really happy that people like my content so much that they decide to support me, and I'm forever grateful for that. So yeah, if you know, like if you miss me during the week, if you miss some more true crime and full body chills from me, you can go ahead and subscribe to my Patreon, because as I said, for as little as $5 a month, you get access to a library of true crime streams, bonus true crime streams that are not gonna be released on YouTube. And also, you get access to my Discord server with a VIP role and VIP channels. Okay, chilling. Wait, someone asked about the what I use. What do I use? How did you make the murder board? Yeah, Clip Studio Paint, and it's you know, it's mostly copyright-free images that I used. So yeah, like stock images. But that's it. That's how I make my murder board. I just make it in Clip Studio. I have layers, and I just switch between them. I wish there was more evidence to go on back then and now. Good job speaking of it. All this would have really stumped me for sure. Yeah, like this. I know I choose all those cases that are just... A lot of them have little to no evidence. But this one was just... Also, I mean, had that... You know, like the woman, the unidentified woman who saw Howard with Lisa... No, not Lisa. Jesus, Louise. Louise on the night when she disappeared. But she just refused. I get it. Like, she was afraid. Because you can never be sure with the law enforcement. Maybe back then it wasn't as great on... Like, in Hawaii. And she was just concerned that he would walk free and she would be his next target. So I can understand that, you know, like she was afraid, you know, especially if she thought that Howard also saw her, then yeah, like her concerns were valid, you know, like until he would be put away in jail, like she would not be safe. Who knows, like he might have targeted her. But yeah, you know, if she stood on the witness stand and she testified, maybe we would have, you know, Howard would be put away, or like they would have found someone who is responsible for the murders. And hi, Wabdub. Hi. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm actually almost done. It's frustrating, Kronos. It's frustrating that so many people are killed and there is nothing to show for it. Right? Yeah, like... It's even frustrating that, you know, the police even put out undercover female officers to, you know, go there and try to lure him out, but somehow it didn't work. And, you know, in the meantime, also another victim like popped up. You know, there was another victim, and it's just, yeah, like they were trying, they were really trying, you know, like that, as I said, like back in another case that I was discussing. Which one was it? Was it Arkansas? I think it was Arkansas, where the police was also trying to, you know, like, I mean, they did successfully actually, they did actually succeed, right? Because they put out those, this one female officer, you know, just go undercover, and she actually managed to identify the killer. So, you know, obviously this works, but not in this case. Okay, but to kind of lighten up the mood, let me read some of the ridiculous laws from Hawaii. Because that's what we do in this series. Okay, so dumb laws from Hawaii. Okay, just a disclaimer, I don't know if these laws are still, you know, working, are still actually part of, you know, Hawaii's, I don't know, like law code. I don't even know how to, yeah, like the criminal code, I guess. Okay, so these laws might not be actually up to date. They might have been in the code for like in the past, but who knows, they might still be there. Anyway, they still sound ridiculous. Okay, so number 1, by law, twins must not work for the same company. Which, gee, I wonder why. Maybe because they can switch places. Or sometimes. I guess that's the stereotype, right? Like, oh, twins can switch places, so oh, one of them might be like, ah, you know what? Although it would be even like better to not work for the same company at the same time. I forgot about this. Yeah, we're back on track, baby. More stupid laws. Yeah. So although I think that it would be better if the twins, like, one of them worked officially for the company and they would like do a switcheroo, right? Like just, oh, you know, where the hell am I? Well, I mean, you just subscribed to a true crime VTuber, right? So we just went over the case, but now it's like the end of the case, and I usually just go go over stupid or like dumb, ridiculous laws from per state. All twins or just identical twins? It wasn't specified, but I guess, yeah, like they just said twins. So I mean, obviously if it's like not identical twins, then it's a little bit more fair. I have no idea, but it just said twins, so I guess twins. Hey, like identical twins, I would say like one of them should work for the company, and then just whenever one doesn't feel like going to work, the other one can just like fill in for them and be like, yeah, totally, you know, one person. Okay. Best part about silly laws is that some nitwit ruined it for all of us. What? Okay, and hi Nick, hi, thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, it is the end of the stream, but yeah, we can hang out a little bit longer while I go through dumb laws from Hawaii. I am a twin, too bad we're fraternal. Yeah, that would not work. Okay, so number 2. Surfers must express themselves using a vocabulary for no more than 100 words. And also, mind you, you only can get to choose those words once. So the moment you choose your 100 words, that's done. Like you're done. There's no switcheroos. You can't, no exchanges. No complaints, no exchanges. You're stuck with 100 words for the rest of your life. I don't know how real this is. Like, this sounds so unreal, but okay, yeah, like, I guess surfers don't need that many words to, you know, express themselves. And, man, I cannot believe this was a law, like, at one point, or even now. Like, I don't think it's a law now. Like, you would get put in prison for it now, but, that's it? Yeah, that's it. How? No idea. Their dictionary is very, very short. Okay, so number 3. No child can be given the name Charles. What? Hawaii, explain yourself. What do you have against the name Charles? What happened there? Was there any... Wait, what? Is there something that I don't know about Hawaii and like a name Charles? Maybe there was someone named Charles that's just like a persona non grata? And the moment you want to travel to Hawaii and they see your name in the documents, your name is Charles, they'll be like, excuse me, but to get the fuck out. You have no access here. You shall not pass. Wait, why is that a law? I don't know. It was at one point, I guess. Fun fact, Netflix was founded before Google. What? Holy shit. Also, poor Charles. Seriously. Why? Keeping the servers oppressed, lest they raise up. Hey, maybe at one point they might. Darwin. Them, like, they really hate the name Charles. I know, right? It's like, It's like whoever, Charlie. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You have no access here. Dude. Oh yeah. I bet you as all the surfers are, you know, the first word in their like assigned dictionary, it's just dude. Spelled just like that, you know, with a bunch of U's and about a bunch of D's. Okay, so number 4. Oh wait, okay, then how about Charlie? Well, I mean, if it comes from Charles, then yeah, no. No. Okay, number 4. And this one is like the best one. I have to say, like that one's the best one. Men from the Oracama tribe are not permitted to eat their second wife. Thing is, okay, listen, hear me out. Thing is, there's no mention of the first wife, so technically, it's okay to eat the first wife, but the second wife is a no-no. What is happening on like in Hawaii? Okay, Jesus. Dorothy, I missed something. I wasn't listening. What was that about twins? Oh, twins must not work for the same company. That's the law. And yeah, apparently men from this very specific tribe are not permitted to eat their second wife, but I guess they can snack on the first one. Nom 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 nom. I'm sorry, what? I know, right? It's like, well, who wants to be my first wife? Everyone is like, no, no one's volunteering. Whoever volunteered as a tribute for the first wife is like, shit. Maybe she didn't know. Maybe they didn't know about the tradition. Hey, worst comes to worst, you know, if there's like food shortage on, you know, on Oahu or in Hawaii, on any of the islands, and then there's like a, you know, at least men from that tribe have something to eat before they starve to death. Oh shit, man, that sounded bad. Okay, so what about the third wife? No specification. It's just the first, like the second wife is you know, is sacred. Okay, second wife is off limits. Any other wife, well, bon appetit. Third wife is fair game. Same as the first wife. Okay. She looks a little meaty. Oh my god. Okay, so number 5. Residents can be fined as a result for not owning a boat. Wow. Okay, so if you're a resident, you need to fit in, okay? You need to be a part of the club and own a boat. We don't care what the boat is made of. Can be made of, I don't know, Cheetos. It's fine, as long as it's a boat. And you own a boat. And then, number 6. It used to be illegal, so this one is actually not current, but it used to be illegal for one to leave home without knowing where they were going. Wow. So basically you can't leave your house, like you couldn't leave your house for just like an evening stroll, a morning stroll, whatever. If you were just like, oh, I'm gonna take a walk, not specifically to anywhere in particular, but yeah. So, like you go out for a walk and there's like wee. Excuse me, sir. Step back into your house. You're not allowed to take a stroll around the island. Okay, Dorothy. Oh, I recall that a pair of identical twins got off of drug charges somewhere because the defense said you can't possibly identify either one, so you can't honestly say which one did the crime. That's so smart, though. I mean, obviously a no-no, please don't do that, but I have to say props. Respect for the creativity. Imagine getting a ticket for that. Seriously, you just go out of your house and you just wanna take a walk. That's it. Like, you just wanna take a walk in the morning and then boom. You get fined. Jesus. She joined your neighbors. No walkabouts. Essentially, yeah, but as I said, that used to be the law, so I guess now you can actually wander around without a purpose. You can actually walk, I don't know, like walk your dog out or something. Those some smart twins. I know, right? Okay, but that's it. That's it for today. That's it for this case and for the stupid laws. Next week, what do we have next week? Wait, because I forgot. Forgot to check it. What's the next week's? Where is it? Did have okay from each state. What's the next state? What? Something probably I or something. Is it? Is I the next letter on my list? It is Idaho. So the next case is gonna be from Idaho. So if you have, you know, a case from Idaho that you would like me to cover, you can suggest the cases. You can just, you know, take a moment to comment under this video. Also, please do take a second to like the video if you liked, you know, if you like what I do, if you like the format. Just take a moment to click that like button, because it really helps my channel and the YouTube algorithm to, you know, just push my channel a little bit more. Idaho, yeah. So the next one is gonna be Idaho. Have you done Texas yet? No, I'm going alphabetically, so Texas is not, it's pretty far on my list. But yeah, you can, hey, if you have a case from Texas, you can also comment under this video and, you know, like suggest your cases. Idaho is a potato. Oh god. I do not vibe with these laws. I do not vibe with them either. Because I like my, you know, aimless strolls, not straws. Land of potatoes. Nice. So I guess I know what the leading theme of the next stream is gonna be, just potatoes. But okay, you know, like if you like the video, just take a split second to, you know, click that like button. And yeah, definitely, you know, comment if you like the video or if you have another case that you would like me to cover. It doesn't have to be, you know, from the States. It can be even like from anywhere else. I might take a break from the US series and, you know, just cover, if I feel like it, I might cover something else. So yeah, go ahead and comment and like and subscribe. And yeah, thank you so much for all your support. So that's it. That's it for today. Stay safe out there. Don't go around Hawaii without a direction, without a purpose, because you're gonna get fined, arrested, and whatnot. And always lock your doors. Until the next time. Bye.